Now, pensioners under the umbrella of the Nigeria Union of Pensioners, NIPOST chapter, are demanding the immediate payment of arrears and the implementation of pension increments approved by the federal government since July of 2024, as well as unpaid palliative funds and the regularization of their monthly pension schedule. The union made this demand during a peaceful protest at the Ministry of Finance headquarters in Abuja. Arrears correspondent Frank Omalape reports.
For these workers, the struggle for survival continues. These workers carrying placards with different inscriptions and visibly exhausted converged on the premises of the Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja to demand the payment of their benefits. The retired workers say the 32,000 monthly pension increment approved by the federal government since July 2024 is yet to be paid.
President Tinubu approved 32,000 naira for us to be added to our monthly pension. But since July last year, July 29, up to date, it was not paid. Then they give us 1 month. By next month, it will be 1 year of 32,000 for individual DBS pensioner that have not been paid.
The pension board is made up of 4 blocks. We have the police pension board, which have their director. We have the CPRO, Customer Immigration and Prison Service. They have their board. Then we have the Federal Civil Service Pension Board. They have their director too. Then we also are the parastatals, so which we fall into. So as in last year, there was payment. There were a lot of struggle between the government and the Petard office in agitation for that 30,000 minimum wage. To our greatest surprise last year, they only paid those 4 departments. That is the police pension department, the custom and immigration department, and the federal civil service. They paid them 5 months of arrears of 30,000.
The union workers also demand the immediate disbursement of the 25,000 naira palliative payment for 6 months, approved by President Tinubu in October 2023. They say the palliatives package are part of the measures to cushion the impact of the fuel subsidy removal.
We have palliative that is not paid. Then we have 32,000 minimum wage that was given to pensioners that has not been paid. That is for 10 months. They only pay us 1 month out of 10 months.
We are so disturbed. 10 months out of 10 months, only 1 month is paid. And we are not sure whether the remaining month will be paid. That is why you bring our problem to the Ministry of Finance. You hear us.
The union workers say they have no option than to hit the street after several letters and formal appeals remain ignored without response. When Arrears News crew sought to engage officials of the Ministry of Finance for comment on the matter, none was willing to speak on record. The officials, after checking through their records, clarified that the ministry has no records of any letter from the union, but demanded that a formal letter be addressed to the office of the Minister of Finance for appropriate action. Frank Omalape, Arrears News.
Well, thank you, Frank. For more on the protest, Sani Mustapha, Senior Technical Advisor, Contributory Pension and Happy Retirement Advocacy, as well as the former Director, Corporate Services of PTAD, joins us now. And PTAD being the Pension Transitional Arrangements Directorate. Thank you so much for being on Newsnight. Well, that was just NIPOST, pensioners protesting to the Ministry of Finance today. Yes. Can you clarify if this is secluded to just NIPOST pensioners, or if this is wide scale, if this is wider than just NIPOST pensioners? And if this is so, if this is the situation that it is across board, what has happened? Why is it so difficult to implement what the president directed in 2023 and 2024? We're talking about 2 years and a year ago.
Yeah. You see, the defined benefit scheme is the oldest pension scheme which was reformed in 2004. And sincerely, it will go on and on because this is a scheme that is not funded. Government will come out and say, we do this, but without the backing of the money. PTAD is also a reform agency. Out of all the defined benefits institutions in Nigeria, PTAD has been performing very well. If you look at it, in 2024, in January, there was an approved pension increase by the president. They are not talking about it. It has been paid. All arrears have been paid. It is the July. When you put out a budget, the implementation of that budget and fund releases takes time. We even say, thank God that we have more money now from the subsidy removal. That is why really the federal government is even putting a lot of money on pension. Very recently, they approved a bond of about 758 billion for the contributory pension side.
Yes.
It will come to the defined benefit side. The only thing is I will ask the union to have some specialists to work with budget and work with finance so that they can track funds that are going to PTAD. As a union, they're supposed to do that. In other climes, unions are respected bodies and they have a lot of capacities. So this kind of going round is really attached to this defined benefit. It is because there is always a gap. What government said we would like to do in good, in good faith,
right,
is not backed by money.
So where exactly are the gaps? I mean, when you say it's not backed by money, I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. Help us understand why it's not backed by money and who exactly really should be funding this, Yeah,
you see, if you, PTAD will say, okay, federal government, you approved 32,000 minimum for any pensioner. They will do the calculation based on the number of pensioners they have, and they will put it in their budget.
Once in PTAD's
yes,
budget.
In their PTAD budget, yes,
okay.
Yes, which will take effect. Even the budget itself, it will take time before it is approved. Meanwhile, this approval by the president takes effect from certain month, and arrears are now going in. They will be paid the old pension for 1 or 2, 3 months before enough money is now in PTAD coffers so that they can now pay. That's what usually happens. And actually, there is something I want to tell you. PTAD do not have account for itself. Everything, they just keep records. Everything is paid by Accountant General Office through the Give Me's platform. So what they do is, once they said, okay, we have enough money, then they just give the names of the pensioners and each arrears and the percentage. Because even the percentage in January, it was 20% for a certain category of pensioners and 28% for certain categories of pensioners.
Okay, so from the moment government approves or gives the approval for the release of the funds for pensioners to be paid, and when they are paid, how? I mean, what's the window? How
they
much
will
time
fund it. PTAD will look at their Give Me's platform and they will see the funds.
Yeah,
they
I'm
will see funds
asking, I mean, if government says, look, go ahead and pay these pensioners.
Yes.
How long does it take for for the pensioners to be paid? Whether it's in the case of contributory or even this defined...
contributory is a different thing, yes.
But the defined one is what we're talking about.
Yes, is the defined benefit.
How long does it take, or should it take?
It takes unless government get money.
Oh, wow.
You understand?
Okay.
For example, there was a time some pensioners were in Federal Ministry of Finance. I think they are military pensioners. We were there discussing with their leaders. Even as they are there in finance, they started receiving alert. They were thinking that it is their carrying placard that made them to, but it was already approved almost 3 months before. So as they are doing placard there in Ministry of Finance, money started entering their account.
But it does sound like a bureaucratic failure on that PTAD. I mean, if the contributory pension scheme, not as if they don't have their own challenges.
They do.
We've had pensioners who are also being owed on that contributory pension scheme. But this PTAD does seem like, it's more cumbersome and, more problematic than contributory. I mean, from what you're explaining, they don't have the funds. You did highlight the 757 billion naira
for contributory.
For
contributory. It's all the backlog.
For the contributory.
Yes.
So you're saying even from this bond that the federal government is trying to raise, that the president went to the National Assembly for,
yes,
retired pensioners are not likely to get from that money?
No. All that money is for contributory pension. And that is not, it has addressed about 4 issues there in that, previous government, before this present government, they did not do anything for the contributory pension people. All these increases, 33% from 2017, 20% in another year, and those years, nothing was added to contributory pension pensioners.
But their own problems have been solved now.
It's government, but that one,
it's still not solved. It's still not solved. I mean, they have
solved.
The money.
Yes.
Apart from the arrears, they say even the monthly payments, they don't know when they would arrive, and we have so many pensioners who say, we just wait. We don't know when they wake up.
And many die while waiting for this.
But my question really is, who's to blame for this? It does seem unfair that you have served the nation in your capacity for several years, and you retire, and then you have to beg and protest to get stipends to come to you. How do we solve this issue?
Well, we are a developing country. That's what I keep saying. The moment a policy is put forward, then they will now look for the money to implement it. Usually they don't have sack full of money waiting for policies. Usually policies come before funds. And this defined benefit, don't even ask states. States, if you see the horror stories that are in states, federal government is trying, because this petard, it was purposely created after a lot of hardship of pensioners where they die under the bridge, they follow, you understand?
Yeah, but their problems are still not solved.
No.
I mean, do you discard this defined pension scheme?
No.
Or how do you modify it in a way that pensioners don't suffer?
Well, PENCOM is now in charge of this defined benefit.
That's right.
They are the ones that regulate it. And so far, petard pensioners of under DBS are better off than state pensioners under DBS.
Okay.
Because petard, very recently somebody called me and said he has not received his pension for about 9 months. I quickly sent the thing to some of the people I knew in petard.
And they
quickly checked. They sort it.
But not many people have this kind of contact. Well, thank you very much.
They have.
Sani
they
Mustapha,
have. Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us. Senior Technical Advisor, Contributory Pensions and Happy Retirement Advocacy.